Wow, once again, Nana Kazana.
I mean, can be big if you share light on, who's a kind of gift, no? And my mother call, I mean, say even cry parents, Oba gift, we share light kakra on. Because yeah, community inside and the nim cry.
Debbie.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I'm giving some figures to this. Thank you. That's a good question. So, with respect to gifts, when you are given gifts, there is what we call annual exclusions, right? For as of 2020, you can give somebody up to 17,000. Putting in more be 17 up to 17,000. Okay, without reporting it to the IRS. And when you post the catching IRS sending my gift, okay. And then also, if you are a parent as of 2003 filing period, now it has increased. I can check the 2024 amount, but then for 2023, if you're a parent, I can give my child a gift. Me and my wife, we can give our one kid up to $34,000 as of 2023. And when Yapo said we will disclose anything in our tax filing. So when it comes to that, and there is no tax on that, there is no tax. Okay, there is a gift tax returner for filing when the amount is more than these thresholds. Okay, and no, you have to just for information purposes disclose. But there is also an amount that if it goes beyond that, taxes, gift to pay tax on that. So you ultimately 5,000. Not the Ashena account to me. To your tax, who soon to your tax. Now when you say catch even your tax person when you are filing your taxes. Because you don't have to disclose that.
Yeah, you move below in inside and crash say it will trash would be crash be a old chair by yeah about that. Yeah, next question, man.
And then where the end I say about the W2 and W4 no or once again explaining which is which. I'm saying for you confused with the W2 and W4.
Okay. I will share my screen kakra in a baby person W2 ni W4 nasi. Let me share. So to me home is screen now. Let me I'm on the heads up. But to me home is screen.
I'm actually home screen.
Okay, great. So I put this link in our chat. This link would help you. So W4 it's what helps your company. So companies maybe to say like his sisters, her friends now where like something like CNA say ebi more utas boom tax. But companies ebi tax no also tax no farmer IRS no I will say I will say no farmer IRS. They don't have the right to sell sika biya mo pay. Inti I say ni budi hu no say ye $1 na $2. When I was say team 300 or team $100 or $50 every paycheck. Now for my IRS, how do you go about showing them say the person will team $20 or $100? The former you used to be able to know how much company I was so no move for my IRS no. So for me a friend from W4. Okay, so it's that from W4 in order to know how much I was and was too much, was too low. There's a calculation that goes with it. This IRS website helps you to know how much I was So here you come to this side, as you can see, it says information about you. Select the information that best describes you, how you anticipate filing your 2025 tax return. So for instance, we talked about the filing status. The status, we talked about it last week, right? So we know
Yes.
that we have single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household and qualifying widow. If you are married and you're filing jointly, or you are single, let's say you are single this year, you just click single and move on. Then the next question, do you have a job or a pension that regularly withholds federal income taxes from your paycheck or pension? Yes, sir. Now, beside the next question. So you follow these prompts, select any that apply. I plan to claim dependents on my return. When you are filing your taxes, do you have any dependent? So based on the question, who answer them religiously. Now we'll go to next tab. These questions will guide you to know exactly how much your company needs to withhold. This would go on the W4 once you finish the calculation. So that's the W4. Now, when we come to W2, we share example where may share our screen this one. We have an example of from W2. So from W2, it's wage and tax statement. Wage and taxes statement share. Sikibia will company no. So you're employee. You're the W2, you're the employee. If you are an employee. If you are an independent contractor, that's a one year employer and only 1099. But we employee only form a friend W2. This is an example of it. Ube will say your first name, your last name, employer no the address, employer no their employer identification number. Sikibia mutia throughout the year. This is annual. The whole year, how much they paid you is 50,000. So muti social security, amount to so show the total amount. Any Medicare wages, it will be here. Any federal, this is important for your tax filing purposes. How much tax has been withheld is 4,092. This shows the total amount that they took from the income. This one here, what you can see here, and the number 2 is based on the W4 now you see W4 now we are and now based on it, they withheld this 4,092 to the IRS. So they disclose it on the W2 and then any social security and all that. So that is the form W2. Any state wages, income tax you have paid, they paid on your behalf to the state, it shows on the form. And this is one of the things you need for filing your taxes, the W2. That is if you're an employee. So that's the main difference between the W4. W4 no share how much you want the company to withhold from your periodic income now, and then the W2 shows a summary of all the monies you received, the taxes they paid, and all deductions for the entire year. Thank you.
Wow. That's a good explanation. Yeah. Okay, first this one say opposite making more money into or yeah juma more like 2 or 3 jobs. Also, who said the more yeah juma does it affect your taxes? So yeah juma more it me ma boka and I say put me generating more money.
That's a good question. Our tax filing here in the US, I want to briefly explain it, but also share something real quick. When we file our
What's that
taxes here,
about?
I'm not sure. Oh, yes, screen.
Screen I know what I say, but the ocean number. Fee number.
Okay. So it's good to do a lot of jobs and make money. Unlike some states, the US federal government, the Fed, the tax that we all pay is not flat. It is progressive. The difference between a flat rate and a progressive rate is what I would explain. State BT say Indiana. Indiana is a state. The state itself, no, they pay what we call a flat. They have a flat rate on their tax, so it is like 3.5%. It doesn't matter how much you make. So you can make 20 billion, you still pay 3.5% to the state. You make 10,000, you pay 3.5% to the state. But the federal government tax system is different. It is called progressive system. Progressive literacy, the more you make, the more you also pay your taxes. So definitely, if you work more jobs, you still make good money, but you also pay a little bit more in taxes. And that is what our brother Dave explained to us. It's just like this, okay? And so we can take more questions. Now, I'll just say this, what I'm going to say briefly is that, so we make it 11, let's take it, you make $15,000. If you make $15,000 now, in this example, 15,000, you are not going to pay 10% on the 15,000. What would happen is that if you can see my calculator, do you see my calculator? Oh, chatting also. Okay, so let me share this so that it will be. Can you see my calculator now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it. You are making 15,000. The whole year you made $15,000. $15,000. So $15,000 now will make it. The federal government is going to take 10% of the first. If you are single, okay, the federal government will take 10% on the first 11,600 out of the 15,000. So what we will do is that this 15,000 here, we will take out 11,600 into Rebecca 3,400. Okay, into Maisha will 3,400. So this is how it's going to work. The first 11,600, no, IRS is going to charge 10% of that. 10% is 0.1. So you pay 1,160 on the first 11,600. Out of the 15,000 now, unyayen. What you have 10% on the 11,600, it's Rebecca 3,400. That 3,400 Rebecca no, ebe falling into a different tax bracket. So I don't know, we 12% on the 3,400. So times
Wow.
0.12. And no buy $408. So $408 plus the 1,169 you claiming before no, will be 1,568. So say your taxable income no 15,000 now. Then all you pay is 1,568 in IRS taxes. Until the more you make, the more the excess income will fall into the other buckets. The highest rate I'll be to make here is 37%, which is here. Okay, so that is how it works. The more you make, the more you earn, the more you also pay in taxes.
Wow. And it's in here, you're making money.
Yeah, I think this, when it comes to the wealth planning side, one of the things I would say is we all have to know how much is enough for us, right? How much is enough for us? The more you make, the more you make taxes. But then there is also what we call tax planning and tax strategy.
Mm-hmm.
When people start making good money, what they do is that they don't file just taxes like some of us do, right? You need lawyers, you need professionals, you need professional in your portfolio. Or maybe you come about, they will make you more money because there is what we call tax planning. Okay, most of the people I've met, they don't really plan their taxes. And one is at the end of the year, they gather their documents and then they file. But you can actually know how much your tax is going to look like before the year ends. It's simple. You can even determine, say, this is what I'm going to pay, or this is how I'm going to go about it this year. But it's important, say, you start tax planning earlier on in the year, because there are a lot of strategies that can help you also save money. But if you plan late, it will be difficult for you to do that.
Yeah, that is when I come in. Mostly no, a bow mouse start early. Said your kind won't china, yeah, no coin the answer. And I said your kind will make more money. Make a lot of money, or more professionals, or more helpful. Until we make it say, if you say, make it 600,000, 37%. There's like almost can in answer. It also bet me up planning the same way. So who making more money? You have to understand the system. You have to understand the environment. How yes, if it's now who make it to say you make it now. No, you have to understand that. Sometimes now they come and say, yeah, your community no. Say be a bit fee kakra. Na ebia obi etimi aboa obi bi ho no ye nye da na obi ho na afie bia you lose money. So what is the dani kind and say they will take money but they will help you also make money. Who drew level bia. Yes, also making sure say we professionals or CPA or lawyer or sankrofoni na our setting, nti omo be chere say bia beginning of the year say no be obo otimi yetimi catch you say e wo say bia okoto dan ana say bia o say otimi ye bibi ansa na year na end because bia scan we dia na do point bia wan hwe obitua more to the government bia o say auto asset bi right away e bia wonya no but as times o kono na o hwe sa anya mani na now starting in term now start so the name to 2 year fees ne bi onye den sa because bia o ever say bia making 100,000 grand up say o start so prepare o name year nipa na o charge 100,000 ko charge if I say 20,000 maybe kakra bi but that's why professionals are there to help you. Next questions.
Wow. Nana, we say what about say or no one person will be deal with IRS and D? What about say one file task don't want to deal with them and also issue and
filing taxes there. Is it paying taxes is not a crime, but filing taxes is a crime. Now, it one file here. Who files we say which year now where year? What is the eventual? It filing taxes there. One file a crime. Do you think they don't want to deal with IRS? No. And yeah, Emma so.
Whether you like it or not.
Oh, cracker who?
No bebre. Oh, bebre can't. So yeah, I think first of all, if you decide say you don't want to deal with IRS, just make sure say you don't make so much money in the country. It requires overvalidas. Right. So for instance, we have a threshold that if you are making, you must file taxes. It's a requirement. But if you are not making any money, you are not taking any money anywhere, and you are not meeting the criteria, that's fine if you are not filing. However, if you are making the threshold and you are not filing taxes, that becomes an issue. Then because the people that give you money, like W-2s and all that, they have already reported it to IRS. So it's not a matter of you not filing. If you are not filing, they know. They know. So the day you get a letter, that's going to really be very stressful for you. That's one. The other thing too that I would also share is that sometimes it's not say who person filing. Filing taxes is for your own benefit sometimes. Sometimes because of your income, there are people who file taxes and they rather make money because of the credits that the government gives. Okay, so that's one. You can make some money from filing taxes legitimately. The second part too is that there are certain things you want to do here in the United States. You do so many things. It would require say you have something, they can ask you for your tax 1040 tax filing. Okay. The other thing too is for those of us who maybe you have brothers, relatives in Ghana that you want to bring to the US, phobia and all that. All these things require, say, you have some income disclosed. And one of the things they require or they request that you demonstrate that you have is your taxes. Tax that you have filed taxes. Obisi Moha or your green card holder. And I be on your green card holder. I feel all you and the crata and your man, all that. That's a whole young crata one sem and all your green card holder. So who call for citizenship? One of the things that they will ask you is whether what they are inquiring or tax filing. So there's a lot of nuances to deciding not to file or not to file. Okay. But overall it benefits you when you file the taxes. One casa.
Wow, Nana. I'm saying I can't few minutes. My for these two questions, Imrana. I feel now my wrap up now.
Me play devil advocate. You I hope say mini panuti not many obi daddy. My insight kakra. So my file taxes. My jumabia from 2001, 2002, 2003. My jumabia into my file taxes, right? By me were dependent. Now I'm a person me file it. What would you tell me? I feel I'm person me call back and me call file it, those dependent now. My need but more dependent. Those years now a chem crow.
So first of all, I haven't filed taxes for all this. My only advice is whether I have people who file but because they don't have any income, you still can do information only and still file. Okay. Maybe it's because of maybe a second tax accountant, you know. So we say we and that is a big deal for you. There are free resources, IRS resources, especially for people who are not really making any money at all, right? Or their income is not huge. There are voluntary services that IRS offers where you can do your own filing, or they can even assist you to file. So I'll suggest to everybody or anyone on this line who is not really making anything at all, but they yearn to file their taxes, say there is a way out. Okay, where you can file at zero cost. Okay, that's anyone. So if that is the main reason, and then also if you don't know, Bisa Obinima will be better. Have accountant or have somebody knowledgeable, like our brother Befi, who can also explain the reason why you have to file. So that's the first thing I'll say. The second part is that if you have dependents and now you have dependent and you want to really file those taxes, you need to make sure you have the documentation. Gather those documentation. Make sure you have evidence of the fact that those kids have lived with you for years and or for the entire, it should be more than 6 months of the year for you to be able to claim them, and then you can file maybe in the current year. Regarding those years now, you can go in all the way back, and maybe if there is no good tangible reason and you don't need to file, you don't earn any income, any big deal, that's fine. But you can still currently file with the kids now. You have them. You can still file and disclose your income, and then that will be good for you. But say, maybe you made income in those times and 1 year and all that, and maybe and year it will raise some red flag. And you better say, what's going on with this gentleman?
Because why make any income now? For the whole bus about the file.
Yeah.
One the Honubicha.
Yeah. And I would always say some of these things too, it will be helpful for you to sit down with your tax accountant or the consultant, talk to them, disclose things to them, and they will be able to guide you in a good way so that you won't.
Wow. Then I can 5 minutes. More answer these two questions, my more wrap up on some kind of my. Or say or just social security and also file tax. And the two. So if so what age is social security no longer taxed?
Okay. So there are nuances to Social Security when it comes to Social Security. Generally, if you don't really earn much and it's just Social Security generally, and it's not really huge money, you don't really have any huge tax liabilities or tax issues. And so we have people who earn Social Security, and because of that, they don't want to really do so much work. It will push them to the level where they have to pay taxes. So that's why you see some of these older people, they work at Walmart. They work at, basic places that are like they just want to be active, right? So that they don't really have so much tax burden. So that's for Social Security. So make Social Security, you are earning Social Security, and yet you are still working and making more money. It pushes you above that threshold that you will not need to pay taxes, and you'll be required to pay taxes. That is, if your income is high, you pay. Now, regarding the age, I believe there is an age limit for paying, stopping the Social Security when you are for the elderly. But most of the times, if you really don't make much, and it's just Social Security money you're making, you don't really have any burden as far as Social Security, the Social Security you receive is concerned. So the age limit, I don't know the age limit right now. So I can check that and provide you with a response to that.
Okay. Zaran Dasi. Okay, just 3 minutes. So mbut me wrap up on my nana.
You done can we be trained?
Sure. There were a few things said the last time I wanted to touch on, but I think I did touch on some of them. A few red flags. I would again say, and I say this anytime I get opportunity to talk about taxes. Tax filing is not the taxman's responsibility. It is you, the person filing your tax. It is your responsibility to ensure that it's complete and accurate. So these are questions when you are working with your tax consultant or accountant. Don't assume they know it, or ask them questions to clarify things you don't understand so that you can file properly. Make sure you check all the sources of income, and financial institution most of the time they post their tax document on their e-statements, so you can download them and then disclose them. Because if you don't, sometimes you get a letter after you file your taxes because you've forgotten to add something. So make sure you don't forget. Don't rush to just file because you want the money. Make sure you are checking and then you file properly. Also, finally, I do have a firm, and I have a team that will file taxes. It's not just me; it's a team. It's a company. So if you have any tax filing needs, we are open. We would help you. Not only tax filing, but if you have bookkeeping, like you want to maintain good, proper financial records, you can always reach out. My number is in the chat box, and it could be shared. Thank you very much.
Okay. Number near 571-492-8291. 571-492-8291.
Sorry, it's 8292. 571-492-8292.
92. To social media, 571-492-8292.
Yeah. Like okay, with CPA, or go beyond just taxes. Anything about taxes, and as anything about your account, bookkeeping here, the more companies in Kitwana mo basu no ubet me abuam on my way. I hope that this 2 weeks no I ain't shrama. Men rush it so kwa file because we here can make sure so that will be and when say be more on my the as a scanner and way I dream tino. I won't mean you be mammy. Now the may you cry and say me who say say just they are a community sometimes yana or the mommy can say just say there are people they go around until they come out we now
yeah.
Oye mana. And yes, and you be cry when yeska kakra. No as had another person. No as had another person to try baby is can washroom. The one oko. Yes, sir. Why would you want your information everywhere? And it was that near money namsi and tiasi. I say, yeah, it's a tax to say bank be a dear chinchina. But said it an ecano. A down home basem no. Your file man with your cool, won't me up a bit me a candy because Sesana, we dear, because we be so a bit trash or be more. So more, and yet, maybe because here, no one, was you know, o filing na the opinion, Takrana, if we say, dear man, won't you be, and if you say, okay, when you be crying. So it be our bed the Kania then, but in up so yeah, said your call, because our website or we send you into Teoka. With the thing your friends say, you can say, who claim no, I bet me about Emma on the car, who break even cry, okay. You know, but so call round when you pay for 5, 6 or will be Emma now could be for Saadi. If you say, in your good practice, cry. And you make sure say, yen come yen lie low, near tree about me and any money and when their finances, because what it is we not don't question Saadi na fee, just say, how come cry near the biana. Friends Irish food which almost not one person be do what you cry because we pay between Ghana ship. Between Ghana ship pay, Unimunya Sema, a best Casamoa. And ABC now next week to us. Make sure say you spend wisely, save intentionally, and be generous. Daniela, that's be brave, very, very informative with your mind. And then the audio scoop out tone such yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank everyone. Love you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, no, that's in your mission. Must have done this with your mission. And the brown when you're my said, me kind Nana personal number is 703-981-1910. 703-981-1910. With me afreno in case of any financial issues and now be with me afreno no abo Masadani DN so 571-492-8292 571-492-8292 na oni omo edi nkomo no ometimi abo nyame hira so onya abre ebeka e homa yinyini suade kwesi de bia financial peace education yene nua Patrick tane ya bafi ehia no boy no financial aspect to so betimi adjoin sanyumi si no antie nka na the financial peace education the debremon about taxes part 2